The refugee crisis in Iraq is among the biggest humanitarian emergencies in the world. Millions of Iraqis have fled the war, many of them marked for death because they worked for the United States. They were translators, office workers, many other things, but now the enemy has branded them as collaborators. When that happened in Vietnam, we brought more than 100,000 refugees to the United States, but today the U.S. government, which was so desperate for Iraqi workers, is not so eager to help them now. One young American named Kirk Johnson has jumped into this breach. All he wanted to do was rescue one of his Iraqi co-workers, but when he did, 1,000 more pleaded for help, and Johnson began the list.
The people on my list have been tortured, they've been raped, they've lost body limbs. There's one guy on my list who's been thrown out of a moving vehicle. And all of this because they helped us. They came every single day to try to pitch in our efforts there.
Well, what do we owe them then?
We owe them speedy resettlement in the United States.
The U.S. failed to grant that speedy resettlement, so Kirk Johnson has taken it upon himself to plead the cases of some of the estimated 100,000 Iraqis who worked for America.
These are the names, the supporting documents, the recommendation letters, the cell phones, every bit of information that we could compile to help the government live up to their obligation to these people and help resettle them.
The binder holds the list of nearly 1,000 Iraqis that Johnson is trying to get into the U.S. He gets them free lawyers, helps them navigate the system, and pleads their cases to the State Department with praise like this from their former American employers.
Look at this, the Extra Mile Award.
And it's filled with the threats written by the enemy that make life in Iraq impossible.
In the name of Allah, who kills the tyrants, this is your last warning.
Yeah, and to all those who work or cooperate with the pagan occupation forces, we are running out of patience and our hearts are full of hatred.
Threats like that have pushed 4 million Iraqis from their homes. About 1 million of them are hiding in neighboring Jordan, where we came to meet some of the people sending Johnson desperate emails by the thousands.
The most common subject line that I get is simply help.
You know, I wonder how you feel when someone sends you an email that says, "My life is in your hands."
What can you do? I mean, all I can do is...
There's another one.
His cell phone number was new, but in just hours, word had spread that the keeper of the list was in town. He's something like what Oskar Schindler was to Jews in Nazi Germany.
All these people who are calling you, I mean, they seem so desperate, almost as if just seeing you would better their chances somehow.
Yeah, and I wish that were the case. I mean, I'm already doing everything I can.
But you're all they've got.
It's pretty sad. I still hope that that's not the case. I have to believe that they have the power of the U.S. government living up to its word.
So how did this become Kirk Johnson's problem? It started in 2006 when he worked in Iraq for the U.S. Agency for International Development. One of his friends, an Iraqi co-worker, was eventually marked by the enemy as a collaborator.
And within 24 hours, he found a severed dog's head on his front steps with a note pinned to it saying that his head would be next. He took that note to our employer, to USAID, the United States government, and said, "I need your help. I'm going to get killed if I don't find some sort of safe house or some kind of protection, because they know now that I work for you all." And USAID, they basically told him, "That's really unfortunate. Good luck with things. If you're not back here in 1 month, we're going to give your job away to somebody else."
The man became a refugee. Johnson got him a lawyer, lobbied the State Department, and managed to get him into the U.S. To protect his family, we won't show you his face, but he's settled near Chicago, and he's living with Johnson's parents. After Johnson figured out how to get one refugee in, hundreds began pleading. We met another one of them in Jordan, a man named Hyder, who served as a translator for the 82nd Airborne.
I just wear it like this.
And it clicks right in.
It clicks right in.
He lost the leg in a firefight while trying to pull an American to safety. After years in Jordan, we found Hyder preparing his paperwork for his 9th interview with the officials who decide whether he can come to the U.S.
What's the most important thing that you're going to say today to the people who are going to be deciding whether you can come to America?
I'm gonna tell them, hello, I've been waiting for you more than 3 years and 2 months. It's like, am I gonna be reborn or am I gonna die today? If they're gonna tell me or give me approval to go to America, that means my life is gonna be reborn again. But if they say no, that means I have to go back to Iraq because I can't even stay in Jordan no more.
Why don't you go back to Iraq?
Now?
Now.
I can't go back to Iraq now.
Why not?
Because I'll get killed. I'll be 100% killed.
Like many refugees, Hyder is burning through his savings, not allowed to get a job in Jordan, and he could be forced back at any time.
The intersection?
What intersection?
On the other corner.
The Iraqis that work for us live secret lives. They do everything they can to keep their work with us a secret, but it only takes one mistake for that affiliation to become lethal. And we had one colleague, an Iraqi, that worked with me at USAID. He was reaching into his pocket to pay for a haircut, and he dropped his badge, and that's what got him killed.
Somebody saw the badge on the floor.
Right. They killed him on Valentine's Day last year.
So ask him, how far up here is it?
U.S. allies understand the danger. When the British pulled out of Basra, they offered to take all of their Iraqi workers to Britain. The Danish took their Iraqi workers home. So far, the United States has taken 5,000 Iraqi refugees, but Sweden, which has no role in the war, has taken 40,000.
So how many of you think that you would be killed if you went back to Baghdad?
All of us.
On our trip to Jordan, Johnson was getting so many calls that he decided to start meeting with refugees in groups.
And every one of you will be assigned a lawyer. Some of you already have been assigned one, and because there are so many new names, there's a delay, but I promise you all will have a lawyer, an American lawyer that will work for you for free.
Those American lawyers are coming from 3 big firms which Johnson recruited. Holland & Knight, Proskauer Rose, and Mayer Brown have donated the time of more than 150 attorneys. This is one of the refugee families getting that legal help. They've been in Jordan 18 months. For the safety of their relatives in Iraq, we won't use their name, but all of them worked for the U.S.
Here we go. More certificates of appreciation.
This man printed the new Iraqi Constitution on an American contract and handed them out to the public. His wife worked with Americans training teachers.
You're sure you can't go back to Baghdad?
No, of course not. I'm going to be killed there. I'm certain about that. Either me or one of my kids.
The family fled to Jordan after this woman's sister was shot and killed.
We left everything, friends, family, houses, jobs, our country. They took my sister from me.
I'm sorry.
I just want to live safe. That's it. I don't want that to happen again with my children, with my family. I don't want that. I just want to live safe.
You know, one of the things that the U.S. government says about why this takes so long is that people have to be interviewed again and again because they're concerned about letting a terrorist into the United States.
I can understand them.
But I also sense from you that you're frustrated by that.
Because I'm not a terrorist. That's why I'm frustrated.
If we get to the point where we can't even save the people who are themselves fleeing terrorists, if we can't somehow regain our senses and say, okay, you've been riding in Humvees with our Marines, you've been translating for our diplomats, we understand that you're not the terrorist. If we don't have the capacity to do this, you know, I don't even know how to finish that sentence, because